Hello, we're live. It's Dina. We are here on day one of the Desk Board Boot Camp, and I'm just getting all pumped up with a pretty powerful song. If you're watching, can you give me a thumbs up or an emoji so you know you can hear me? I'm looking for where I can see. Again, I'm Dina, I'm dancing here, and I just want a thumbs up from anybody that can see and hear me. Awesome. So we're going to get started in just a second. I'm just going to give everybody a moment to get on live. It's 1 o'clock over here on the West Coast. We had over 100 people sign up for this course, so we should get a lot of activity over the next couple days. Hello, Amanda. Nice to see you. Hello, Ashley. Hello, Azim. I'm so glad you guys are all here. I'm excited and pumped for this. A couple things, little tidbits here. I'm going to try to keep this under 20 minutes today. Our topic today is core strength and breathing. As you know, this course is designed for people who sit at a desk all day long and who have neck pain or back pain or who feel tired or sluggish or just not performing your best because of your sitting lifestyle. As we know, sitting is the new smoking. So this is super important. So the tips I'm going to give you over the next 5 days are going to be what you can do in your desk space. I have a lot of other tips for exercises and things you can do outside of your desk space, and we can talk about that on Thursday or Friday when we have a little more time. But the first 3 days are going to be really focused on what you can do when you're sitting at your desk. If you are watching this later and you are getting it via email, be sure to share the love. Feel free to share it to a friend that might be interested in this content. And those of you that are in the Facebook group, feel free to ask questions. You can post them here, and if I have time at the end of this video, I will definitely address them. If we don't have time today, then I will make sure I address it Thursday or Friday when we have a little more time, or I will just respond to you in the Facebook group. So let's get started. The first thing I want to talk about is the core and the deep core muscles. And these muscles are super important. Sorry, my door is creaking open and distracting me. These muscles are really important for those of you that have back pain. And the core can be described as all the muscles that are in this little midsection area of your body. You gotta back up so you guys can see. In this midsection area of your body. I'm sitting on a movable chair right now. I'll talk to you about this chair a little bit on Thursday or Friday, but in a second I'll move over to something a little more sturdy. So when we start moving around, I'm not moving on the chair, but I like to move when I talk and when I work at my desk. But anyway, back to the deep core muscles. The main one that I want to start with is something called the transversus abdominis muscle. And it's a muscle that wraps around the midsection of your spine, like right here in this midsection. I call it the TVA for short, and it is underneath the rectus abdominis muscle, which is the muscle that is like that six-pack muscle that everyone does crunches and you try to get a definition for. But that TVA muscle that wraps around your midsection is super, super important for pelvic stabilization and for reduction of back pain. So if you're in back pain right now, strengthening this muscle is really going to help you. It is an easy thing to engage, and we as adults forget how to engage it. If you watch a child, you will see their belly pull in and you will see them engage their TVA because it's an automatic thing that we just know how to do. But as we get older and we sit at our desks all day long, we forget and we get lazy. So this is something you can do really easily, and we're going to do it right now. So I'm going to have everyone take their hand and place it right here on your belly, and we're going to just breathe. How we're going to breathe right now is just in through the nose and out through the mouth. I'll talk about breathing a little bit more in this 20-minute period. But for now, breathe in through your nose, and on the exhale, you're just going to take that belly button muscle and pull it away from your hands. You're going to pull it in towards your spine. The hand is there to help you with a little physical cue. So again, inhale through your nose, and then on the exhale, it's going to pull that belly away from my hand. Let's do that 3 more times. Inhale, and exhale, pull that belly away. 2 more, inhale, and exhale. Last one, and exhale. Now I'm breathing really loud. You don't have to breathe this loud. I just want you to be able to hear me. But the point is that you're as if you're tightening up a tight pair of pants. You're sucking in that belly muscle. okay? And that's going to immediately engage your transversus abdominis. Now, that's not the only inner core muscle that I want you to also to engage when you're doing this exercise. There's two more, that's actually a bunch more, but we call them the pelvic floor muscles. And we can identify them as pelvic floor 1 and pelvic floor 2. I'm going to talk about going to the bathroom here for a second, so bear with me. But for men and women, the sensation's a little different. Your pelvic floor 1 muscles are the muscles that, let's say you were going number 1 in the bathroom and someone walked in suddenly and you had to stop your flow. Those would be the muscles you would engage, okay? Pelvic floor 2 is exactly the same. You're going number 2 in the bathroom, someone walks in the door, you have to suddenly engage those muscles, you got to find those muscles. Now, when I'm working with a client, I can't see those muscles engage, obviously, you know, but I can usually tell when someone is engaged in their pelvic floor based on how stable they are on their pelvis. And when you put the 3 together, the TVA with pelvic floor 1 and pelvic floor 2, it's really powerful. And anytime you're lifting something off the floor or doing any kind of physical activity that's strenuous, you should be engaged in these inner core muscles. So back to our desk warriors. These, again, are muscles that you can engage just sitting at your desk. You can do it and nobody will even know you're doing it. It is difficult to identify pelvic floor 1 from pelvic floor 2. And when I'm working with a client, I'll have them lie down, be very quiet, and we will just focus on that and have them work on 1 and 2. We're not going to do that today. What we're going to do is do those same 5 breaths that we just did with the TVA. We're going to add the pelvic floor muscles to it, okay? So every time you exhale, you're going to engage the belly muscle, the TVA. Then you're going to pull up in pelvic floor 1 and 2 at the same time, okay? You're not squeezing your butt muscles. You're not clenching your glutes. We'll talk about the glutes a little bit more tomorrow, which is leg day. We're just going to work on those internal core muscles. So we're going to do 5 breaths right now. Again, you can join me, okay? So you can take your hand on your belly. That will help you with the tactile or kinesthetic cueing. I like to touch myself sometimes in different places so I can get myself to kind of engage the right muscle. So again, we're going to inhale through our nose. Exhale, pull in that TVA on the pelvic floor. We'll do it 1 more time. You really want to pull that belly away from the hand. Inhale. Exhale. Don't forget the pelvic floor. 2 more. 1 more. So there you go. You've just engaged your inner core muscles. You can do it standing, you can do it lying down, but again, this course is about what you can do when you're sitting. So I advise you to do this. There is literally no reason why you can't do this 10 times a day. All right, next up, we're going to talk about pelvis positioning. And this is about where pelvis positioning, how you sit, and then how you can engage your core in that position. So I'm going to swap out my crazy, I'll show you guys, you're probably wondering what I'm sitting on. It's like an accordion chair. I love it. I'll talk about it more later in the week. But instead, I'm going to bring out this sort of stable chair here so that you can see my positioning of my pelvis and posture. I'll take off my little wrap. Okay, so we have these things called the sit bones at the base of our pelvis. And when you're sitting on your chair, you should technically be sitting as, on your sit bones right here. You should not be sitting, you know, like this or overly arched like this. You want to kind of be up on your sit bones. And when we're sitting properly like this, it's called neutral pelvis. And another way to know about neutral pelvis is if you were to take your fingers in the shape of a triangle and place it right here on your pelvis. My fingers would go right on my pubic bone, and my thumbs would right go on my belly button right here. And if my triangle is flat like this, then I'm in neutral pelvis. If I've got a part of my triangle that's tilted, then I'm what I call a tuck pelvis, or a posterior pelvic tilt is the technical term. Or from the other way, I would call this an anterior pelvic tilt or an arched back. We really want to be sitting in a neutral pelvis. So once you find neutral pelvis, then engaging your inner core, your TVA and your pelvic floor really help you maintain this position and keep it really stable. Now, there's an exercise I want to teach you guys that I love. Again, it's super easy to do throughout your day, and it's going to help you engage your core and maybe help you find neutral pelvis throughout your day. And that exercise is to go from neutral into this posterior tilt position back into neutral again. If you rock back and forth, it feels delicious for your lower back. And it really, it's the abdominal muscle, it's that TVA muscle that's initiating this movement. So if I really pull in from my belly and I tuck my pelvis under, you're going to be working on those abdominals, which I promised we would learn about today. And it's going to, again, stretch out your lower back. So I'm going to do this exercise 5 times. Again, join in with me. I'm going to pretend that I have my hands on my keyboard in front of me, because I actually do this, like legit do this throughout my day. And so you can see you can do it while you're still typing at your desk, okay? I'm going to do it with the breathing. During your day, you don't necessarily have to do this really strong breath like I'm doing today, but I want you guys to hear it and understand what it's like to do it with the breath. So we'll take an inhale here and exhale. I'm really pulling my abs in, my TVA, and I'm engaging my pelvic floor. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And there you go. So that's exercise number 2. And that's another way to work those core muscles while you're sitting at your desk. And hopefully you're not someplace where people will be staring at you, but you know, having a healthy body is kind of more important. All right, now we're going to talk about breathing. So we've been breathing this whole time, but there's a lot of different ways to breathe, and there's a lot of muscles that you can use when you're breathing. So the main muscle that we use when we're breathing is the diaphragm, right? Everyone knows that muscle down here that's meant for breathing. We also have these muscles between our rib cage called our intercostal muscles, and those are really important muscles. And then we have muscles up here in our neck, okay, that we use. They're usually our secondary respiratory muscles. But when we are sitting at our desk and we're inactive, we tend to breathe a lot with our neck muscles because we sit still and it's just what naturally comes to us. We breathe really shallow, and it contributes to the neck pain that a lot of people have. Also, a lot of us have forward head posture, so that makes it worse. And when you're in forward head posture, it's going to make things more tense. It's going to make your breathing more shallow, and it's a cycle that just sort of continues. So we're going to work on breathing in our intercostals and our diaphragm versus breathing in our upper respiratory muscles and taking the tension out of our neck and shoulders. Now, there are a bunch of different philosophies on breath. I'm going to speak specifically to 2 different kinds. One is a diaphragmatic breath, and one is a ribcage breathing. And ribcage breathing is what I teach in exercise. So when I'm working with clients, the ribcage breathing is what I teach. But diaphragmatic breathing is also a really great way to breathe for stress relief. So if you're feeling really stressed, then you're going to breathe through your diaphragm. You're going to let go of your abdominal muscles and allow the breath to just come in and out of your body. Breathing is important because it circulates your bloodstream. It helps energize you. Pretty much any doctor that that is dealing with people with stress or anxiety would tell you to breathe. And here I am, a posture coach, telling you to breathe. So we got to be breathing, and we got to do it deliberately and learn how to breathe properly. We're going to start with the diaphragmatic breath. I'm going to do an in the nose and out the nose for this particular breath because that's how a lot of yoga instructors will do that kind of breathing. And so they'll say breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your nose. So we'll do that for this diaphragmatic breath. When you do this breathing, you're going to actually let your belly go. You're going to expand it as much as you can. So you're going to do the opposite of what we've just been doing for the last 10 minutes, okay? We'll do it together for 5 breaths. I'm going to place my hands on my belly here, and again, you're going to see it expand and kind of contract. On my exhale, I'm going to inhale, let it expand, and exhale, let it contract. Again, I'm going to breathe in and out through my nose. You might even see me close my eyes because whenever I do this kind of breathing, I tend to sort of just get relaxed and into a meditative state. So let's try it together. Place your hands again on your belly. Inhale, letting the belly expand. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. One more. There you go. There is your diaphragmatic breath. Pretty simple. Now we're going to move on to ribcage breathing. And this is something, again, that's taught by movement professionals, Pilates instructors like myself. because when we are demanding movement or exercise from the body, we want you to keep your abdominals engaged. We want that TBA, the muscle we were just working on, to be engaged. But then people go, wait a minute, I got to pull my belly in. How do I breathe? Because all they know how to do is do a belly breath. Well, we have these intercostal muscles. Now, of course, you're also using your diaphragm because you breathe. Every time you breathe, you use your diaphragm. But for this particular kind of breathing, it emphasizes the rib cage movement. So I'm going to actually keep my TBA engaged. I'm going to place my hands here underneath my rib cage, and I advise you do the same thing. And you can watch my fingers. Watch my two fingers here in the middle. When I inhale, my fingers separate. When I exhale, my fingers come back together. Now you will see my shoulders elevate and go up and go down in this exercise or in this movement. And it's okay because I'm not tensing up in my neck. But the shoulders are lifting up a little bit because my rib cage is expanding. And that's just a natural thing that happens when your rib cage expands out to the side. So you're really thinking about lateral movement here. The hands underneath the ribs is super helpful to learn how to do this exercise. When you're doing it at your desk, you don't have to place your hands here. But you know, it's helpful to maybe stand in a mirror this evening after you've watched this video and try doing this with the hands here. So let's do 5 breaths together. I'm going to draw in with my TBA. I'm going to draw in with my pelvic floor, and we're going to do 5 rib cage breaths. Here we go. So I'm going to exhale through my mouth on this one. I find that it helps me with the contraction. There you go. You've learned a rib cage breath. One more exercise now. I do something called a triple rib cage breath. And I do this because it really teaches people how to rib cage breathe. This is something you may not want to do if you're working in an office when you got a ton of people around you because they're going to think you're in labor because it sounds a little weird. But it's based in Pilates principles where we do a percussive breathing pattern, and it really helps train those muscles and gets you to think about breathing through the ribs and breathing with those muscles. I use these pillows here, and again, you won't do this at your desk, but maybe you'll do it tonight at home in front of the mirror. And I do it because, again, it gives me a visual cue. Am I really expanding laterally? It gives me a tactile cue. I want to breathe into the pillows. So I'm going to actually just make a little fist here and push into my into the pillows, which pushes into my rib cage a little. And then I'm going to do 3 percussive breaths. I'm going to inhale for 3, and I'm going to exhale for 3. It looks like this. And you can see my pillows expand, and you can see my pillows contract. I do 3 for a reason. The Pilates principles, they usually do a 5 percussive breath. I find that really hard to get in 5 breaths. So I start with 3 because it's simple. Most people can do it. I like the number 3. I was born on the 3rd. It's a lucky number. And it just feels rhythmic and it feels nice. So let's try 5 breaths of rib cage breathing together. Again, you grab pillows if you have them. If you don't, you can just have your hands down by your sides here. Try to relax your neck muscles so you don't get into these upper respiratory muscles when we're breathing. Think about breathing into the pillows, and here we go. There you go. There is your triple ribcage breathing. So now we're going to put it all together. We're going to start with 5 breaths of pulling in the TBA and pelvic floor. Then we'll do 5 breaths of tucking into posterior tilt and releasing into a neutral pelvis. And then we'll do 5 ribcage breaths. I won't do it with the pillows because I'm just going to flow it all together. And this is just for you to see that if you want to do a quick little desk ab engagement workout that takes, I'm going to watch the time. I'm thinking it's going to take us a minute to do it, hopefully, because I have 30 seconds left. So here we go. I'll face this way to start. Hands on the abdominals. We'll do 5 breaths here. Take a deep breath in. Engage the TBA and pelvic floor. We're going to add the pelvic tilt. We're gonna triple ribcage breathe. I was right, it took 60 seconds, super easy. Hopefully gets you energized, gets you thinking about your inner core, gets your pelvis moving. Hopefully you understand how you should be sitting. We're gonna talk more about sitting position on Wednesday, which is where we're gonna address upper body and hunchback. We're gonna talk about all legs tomorrow, all different kinds of leg stretches that you can do at your desk. And then on Thursday, we're gonna do all kind of a whole body routine. And then Friday, I'll be answering all sorts of questions. So if you have questions, email me, post here in the Facebook group. I'm here to help you. I want you to feel better, feel stronger, and I will see you tomorrow.